team. Go just like Hoth. Go just like Hoth. Go just like Hoth. Go just like Hoth. You need to stay off Tatooine if you can.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Forever Lego Studios here, back again with another episode of Building Hoth Week 40. And guys, in this week's episode, we got a pretty decent amount done on Hoth, especially on a kind of that side of the mock. Sadly, we weren't able to get as much done as like in the previous episodes. The only reason for that is because of the fact that I kind of had to work with what I had on hand. I'm kind of, like I mentioned previously, I ran out of certain parts. So this week was kind of, go from what I had. Don't worry though, I did order like 4 or 5 Bricklink orders, and hopefully they'll be in by this next week. So next week's episode should be probably a lot better, as well as should have a lot done, as well as hopefully it's going to be a big episode. But basically in this week's episode, we got that second sniper ditch done. We got a this would be a 4th or 5th snow mound done, or not done, but started up, as well as some other work around the mock. I also do want to point out, if my voice sounds a little off today, is because of the fact that I'm somewhat under the weather and I'm kind of not feeling 100% as my usual self, but that's not going to stop me from filming today's episode of Building Hoth. So if you all are excited, definitely smash that like button, and let's get right into today's episode. Okay, so starting off today's episode, I'm kind of give you an overall look of the mock as it is at the moment. I kind of like doing this at the beginning of each episode, or basically after the intro, whatever. I actually quite like it, and you guys get to see what the mock looks like at the moment. I know this kind of square hasn't changed really much in the last 2 weeks or so, but don't worry, that is coming. And I actually should be starting the footprints for the next walker hopefully soon. But basically, this week's segment, or week, whatever one you want to call it, basically I focused in this general area. Now, like I mentioned in a couple episodes, I pretty much finished this area minus filling in a couple areas where it needs tiling and plates. But for the most part, this area is completely done. It's this half that's about 50, maybe a little over 50% done. Because of the fact that, of course, it still needs tiling, and then this needs to have the walker in place. But don't worry, like I mentioned in the beginning, I have a few Bricklink orders on its way. It actually should be here by at least the beginning of this week, this next week. But in one of those orders is 1,000 of those 2x2 plates, or not plates, but tiles. Basically, I know it's going to fill in that final corner in that spot right there, and it should, I believe it should completely cover that area right there, and hopefully maybe a little bit to cover right here. I have a feeling I'm probably going to need to order maybe another 500 or so to kind of finish this area off, but hopefully 1,000 is going to get a decent chunk completely done. As well as I ordered like 300 or so of the 1x2 plates, just kind of finish that area, and maybe a little bit more on this side. Mainly, I wanted to focus on the tiling, as well as some other parts that will be used in the next couple, well, not really the next couple of segments, but hopefully in the next few segments at least. But basically, this week's focused on this area, which is specifically the sniper's ditch right there. Now this is the second one. That is the original. This is the second. Now this isn't really a actual, I don't think it's an actual thing from the Battle of Hoth. I ended up deciding to use it or make it myself because of the fact that I actually really like it. I kind of like having the long trench right there, and then having these snipers running to position, kind of snipe some troops that are coming around. But yeah, so that was the main focus, as well as fixing that little area right here. As you saw in, like, all the previous episodes of Hoth, you've got that little divot right there. As I mentioned in the last couple of episodes, I didn't really like how it was looking and how it was going to work. So I mentioned that, I was going to take it apart. And, well, this week's episode I did. Again, I actually outlined that sniper ditch like weeks ago, back when I was kind of working on the tiling and this area, actually. I had that little area kind of outlined and where I wanted to put it, and it kind of what stuck there, I guess, for like a couple weeks. And I ended up thinking because of the fact that, again, this week I was kind of working on my own parts, and I was like, okay, I'm going to work on that sniper ditch, or the second sniper ditch, get that taken care of, as well as fix that divot and get that all taken care of. And I actually really like how the second one came out. I actually kind of like this one over that one right there. Now, of course, this is not final, how it's going to look, of course. I kind of like how that looked over there without the tilage. So after the tiling and all the plates are in place, it's going to look a lot better. But even all, it does look pretty nice, in my opinion. As you can see, I did the 2 grates right there. Similar to this. Now, the only difference between these two is this one's actually a little bit smaller than that one. Other than that, they're actually pretty similar, other than I tried doing other things along with the kind of slopage and all that, so it doesn't look like there's snow mounds that look like this that is on that side. Basically, other than that, they are both sniper ditches, and I really love them, how they look. Another thing I worked on, of course, was the filler. I added some more filler bricks, mainly that line right there, as well as basically right here. And as you can see, also, this outline right there. Basically, this is the start of another snow mound. I know I start them once in a while. Not really once in a while. I add them quite frequently. Because of the fact I actually really like how the snow mounds look. I really like that one. Some of the smaller ones as well as these large ones. This is going to be another one of those larger ones. I like the outline at the moment. I don't know, I might continue, or kind of take those up and kind of continue a little bit more to kind of give it a more rounder look. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. That's just the outline at the moment. I would have got more work done on it, though I ran out of these pieces right there. The 2x2 plates. I ran out of them, but don't worry, I ordered like 50 in one order. So I'll be able to finish that. As well as I might put another one like roughly right there. Kind of, maybe a little bit bigger than that one. But kind of in like, to kind of fill up space at that area right there. But basically that is on the second layer, so this is the first layer, and then that's the second layer. But yeah, that's mainly what I focused on this week, was on this side. Again, I didn't have much time this week because of the fact that I was working from what parts I had on hand. Honestly, I'd say I got a pretty decent amount done. I got the ridges done. I got ridges taken away. I got the sniper ditch put in, and as well as I got the outline of another snow mound completely taken care of. Like I mentioned next week's episode should be, a lot cooler, I guess you could say. There's going to be quite a lot of change, I guess you can say. So that's going to be it for this week's episode of Building Hoth. I'm going to quickly pause the video and end off today's episode. Okay, quick note before I actually end off the video. I actually realized something that I forgot to mention. It's just this little funny fact right here. Here's kind of an up-close look of the sniper dish. Again, I really like it, how it looks. Of course, it's not final, of course, because it needs the fancy tiling right there. But basically, there's a funny little thing that it was kind of a happy accident, I guess you could say. As you can see right here, this kind of ends off the little sniper ditch. This is kind of where it starts, and that's where they begin to sniper position. But as you can see right here, there's kind of a line that goes all the way to that way, and that's the separation of between this section and this section, or 2 base plates, or whatever you want to call it. Basically, like I've mentioned multiple times, these are all modular and can actually separate, and it makes it easier to work on, as well as it's going to make it a lot easier when I'm traveling with it. But quick little thing right there, as you can see, these slopes right here don't completely cover this back end right here, and there's a brick under this. And funny enough, there's actually a white brick right here, or at least 2 white bricks. And so when you move it forward, you can kind of see there's white bricks right here, and there's nothing right here. So when you place it next to each other, it makes that white little barrier right there. I thought that was quite a funny little accident that happened. I didn't realize that until I actually finished this. I realized, I'm like, oh no, this is showing, and then I realized there's a little bit of that white brick that shows. So it makes it a lot more, nicer looking. and I didn't actually have to tear up this and switch it with a different colored brick. Yeah, that was a quick little add-on. I forgot, but I remembered to actually add it before the outro. So let's get into that final bit of episode. Okay, so ending off today's episode, I want to give you guys a little bit of information on what next week's episode is kind of going to happen. Basically, I should be getting the orders in the next couple days. Sadly, I won't be actually able to work on Hoth until like Thursday or Friday, which kind of stinks because of the fact that I'm pretty much booked all week, which is kind of upsetting. But don't worry, there's going to be videos coming along this week, not other than Hoth, of course. I have some videos actually already planned to release, and I'm actually excited to showcase them. I've got one tutorial that's going to come out, as well as a package opening, as well as a couple other ideas that I have planned for this week, as well as for the weeks to come. I do want to ask you guys a question. I'm trying to figure out other ideas for the channel and kind of give it more video ideas, because of the fact that I'm trying to branch out into other things, because of the fact that you've got this week's episode of Hoth and all that type of deal. But I also want to kind of do some other videos on the channel. That way, it's not, you get one video a week. So I'm going to try and do other videos. If you have any other ideas, I know not really a Q&A, but a question and answering series would be pretty cool if you guys want me to start that up. But I'm trying to figure out some other ideas for videos. If you have any ideas, definitely let me know in the comments section. And if you like any of the ideas I just said, let me know in the comments as well. But basically, next week's episode is going to kind of focus on tiling, as well as kind of finishing at least some of this part up. I do want to mention that next week's episode, I know it's the first weekend in March, and I mentioned that the first weekend in March is going to actually be starting up the next section, which is the third one with Echo Bass. I'm going to push that segment a week because of the fact that I'm getting all these parts to kind of somewhat finish off this side this week. And I think since I'm getting a bunch of stuff to finish off this side, at least for the most part, I kind of need to finish this before I can actually start that up. Don't worry, I'm not going to push this like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 5 or whatever. I'm going to just wait. Well, technically, it would be 2 weeks. But basically, I'm going to push it back another week. So next week, it's going to be focusing on kind of finishing off somewhat of this side. It's not going to be 100% done, but enough to the point where it's going to look nice, and I can just add little bits of it one by one while I work on the next section. So I did want to point that out. So next week, I know I said that, yeah, next week should be the beginning of the next section, but that's going to wait another week, and hopefully you guys won't get too upset. Again, next week should be a pretty big episode, which I'm really excited to show you guys. But I think that's going to be pretty much it for today's episode. If you did like this video, definitely hit that like button. As well as if you are new to this channel, definitely subscribe. We got some awesome videos coming along this week, as well as continuing on with this channel. And again, let me know in the comment section what you think of this week's episode of Hoth, as well as, again, if you have any ideas for videos, definitely let me know in the comments section what you want to see, as well as if you like any of the ideas that I just said, let me know in the comments. So I think that's going to be it. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next week's episode.